Hi there. In this video, I'm going to go over installing mobile, the AspDotNet Storefront mobile platform on a version 8012 storefront site. So what I've got here is an out-of-the-box 8012 site setup, and we're just going to walk through a mobile install from start to finish. So before you get started, there's a couple things you'll need. The first thing you'll need is admin access to the back end of the website, so make sure you've got that and a valid login. You'll also want to make sure that you have FTP access to the site, and so here I've got on the right hand side I've got the site pulled up in FileZilla, and this is my local machine over here on the left. You'll also need a mobile license key, which I've got, and when you buy mobile you'll get instructions on how to obtain a license key. So I've got a license key ready. And you'll also want to make sure you have write access to the web config. One of these security options that we recommend is to remove write access from the web config. So when you do a mobile install on your live site, you're going to want to make sure that you have write access until the mobile installation is complete, and then you can turn it back off. So if you don't know about that, you can work with your hosting provider to get write access granted on that file. Okay, and then of course before all deployments you should back up your database and get a full backup of your website's files, and you can do that over FTP. I'm not going to cover that today. And backing up your database is also something you may work with your hosting provider on. Sometimes you've got a control panel that you can run a backup from. You just want to make sure that you can back up your database and you can restore it if you need to. And then the same is true with the files. You want to pull a full copy of your site down and back it up before you do anything. That way if anything goes wrong you can always get back to where you started from. So with all that, I'll get started. So the first thing you need to do is choose a mobile skin number. Mobile runs off of skins, and you'll find those, at least in version 8, you'll find those in the skins folder. And out of the box you'll just have one skin. So what mobile is going to do is actually install a skin 2, and that'll be the mobile version of the site. So by default, mobile installs using skin 2, and in your installation package you'll find skin 2. And if you are for whatever reason using skin 2 already, what you'll want to do is just pick another number, and you can actually change which skin mobile uses, and we'll cover that a little bit later. Okay, so I know I'm going to use skin 2, so let's go on to the installation package and unpack it. Over here on my desktop, right at the top. So when you first purchase mobile, you'll get an install package that looks like this. You'll want to go ahead and run that. And then you'll want to browse for where to put it. Alright, we'll put it in there. And then it'll just unpack all the files you'll need. There we go. So if I open this up, you'll see a couple different folders. One is the additional files, and two is the merged files. So the additional files are files that are essentially new files being added, and the merged files are files that already exist up on your site that we'll need to merge mobile changes into. So let's take a look at how we'll do this. The first thing I need to do is back up all of the files. All the files that we're going to merge, I need to do at least a backup of. So I'm going to create a new folder called backup. And just so I know which files to back up, I'm going to make a copy of these out of the merged files folder and put them into my backup folder. And this will make sense in just a second. That way, when I go over to FTP, I know which files I'm going to need to pull down. So on the right I've got the website, and on the left I've got my backup folder. So first I'm going to go into app code on both sites, and I know I need show entity page and skin base, so I'm going to select both of those and I'm going to back those up. So I'm looking for driver.aspx.cs. I'll pull that up and make a backup. Now I'm looking for show product.aspx.cs. Back that up. And we'll make a backup of our web config. Okay, so now I've got a full backup of, or not a full backup, but just a backup of the merged files that I'll need. And if you just restore these, you'll be able to undo your mobile installation if you needed to. Okay, now I'm going to create a new folder called deploy. This is what I'm actually going to push up to the website. And in here, I'm going to start with my backup files. And in deploy, I'm going to make a new folder called merged. And put all my files that I'm going to merge mobile into. And then I'm going to go into the installation package and grab all the additional files. I'm just going to copy this entire directory and move that into deploy as well. So far I've got the merged files are all exactly as they were on my website, and the additional files are all the new mobile installation files. So our next step is to merge in the mobile changes into our merged files. So I'm going to go into the installation package and go right into the merged files, and I'm just going to do them one at a time. So I know that show entity page and skin base both need to be merged, and I use a merging program called Beyond Compare. And there's also a program called WinMerge you can use. They're both pretty similar. So select that file to merge. And then I'm going to go up to my deployment, into merged, and we'll compare these two files side by side. So you can see this is an out-of-the-box installation. So on the right-hand side, the only difference I'll have is this mobile difference. Now it's possible if you've got customizations to your site, you'll see differences other than this one, but you'll just want to pull in the mobile change. Each one of these lines is outlined in the installation guide as well, so if you're not sure whether a change that I'm showing is, or if you see differences that don't appear in this video, just make reference to the installation guide and pull in just the mobile differences. So I'm going to move that over, and then I'm going to go ahead and save the file on the right. Close. Go back into my installation file. And just to speed this up a bit, I'm actually going to compare the whole folder. This lets me do all the files at one time. But again, you can do them one by one or however you'd like. So let's go next into Skinbase, and you can see up top we've got some mobile differences. And here's another. I'll move all those differences in and save the file on the right. Close that down. So those are the same now. I'm going to go ahead and move in this difference here. Close that down. Merge in this as well. And in the web config, you'll see some differences. Your encryption key and your database connection, you want to leave those alone. The first one you'll want to move in is this browser caps. And the next one is this mobile namespace. And you can actually move this driver 3 in as well. Save that. Okay, so now I've merged the files. So now we've got a deployment pack that's ready to go. I've got my additional files from mobile, and I've got my merged files. And if you go into additional files, you'll see the skins folder has skin2 in it. So if in that very first step you had skin ID, say skin2 was already taken, you'd want to change the name of this folder before your deployment to your new mobile skin ID. So if skin2 was already taken, you might choose the next available lowest number. All right, so let's take another look at our website. And let's make it mobile. So back into FTP. We'll go into our deployment package. And I recommend moving the skin up first because that's the largest part of the deployment. When you start to move files over, this is when your site will actually go down until the deployment's complete. So I recommend moving skin2 in because it's not going to affect your site at all when you move it up. So there's skin2, the mobile skin is going up. Okay, I'm going to go ahead into app code once that's done. Yep, that's complete. And I'm just going to move in mobile extension base. Back up. And go to the bin folder. We'll move in the Vortex DLLs. I've already got my skin. And we'll go ahead and move in the rest of these. Okay, so that takes care of all the additional files. Let's go up to the merged files. Go into app code and move in these two. Go ahead and overwrite them. And these additional files as well. Okay. So then we'll go up to the website and refresh it, and it should take a bit to reload. The site will have to rebuild with those new DLLs that have been added. Okay, so once the site reloads, we'll want to initialize mobile. And you do that by going to mobilegO.aspx. And once that's done, you'll see the page reload and it'll kick you back to the home page. And it looks like nothing happens, but that actually creates some app config parameters in the back end. So back on the back end of the site, you'll want to go to app config parameters and just search for mobile. So mobilegO creates these new app config parameters. And there's a couple that we're worried about now. The first one is the mobile license key. I'm going to go ahead and add my key. I've got it here. And I'll just update that. And then on the second page is mobile.skinID. Now I didn't change the skin ID. I'm using skin ID too, but if you did change your skin ID for your mobile site, you'll want to update that with the correct number. And then once that's done, reset the cache. Alright, so now back on the front end of the site, I'm going to go ahead and go to mobilegO.aspx. And now you should see the mobile version of your site come up. mobilegO actually just forces your browser to render like a mobile device. And in order to leave this mobile device view, you can go to mobileleave.aspx, and that'll take you back to the desktop version of the site. So at this point, you just want to test out your installation. Make sure both the front end or the desktop version and the mobile version are working properly. And test it out on different devices you might have. So here's all of our site's departments. And if you don't have departments, yours will look slightly different. You'll just have this link down here that says shop and then your store's name. And that's pretty common to just use categories. And once you click on that, then you'll get a list of all your categories. So the first thing you'll probably want to do after the installation is swap out your logo with your actual name. This logo is plain text. There's not a lot of space up there, so you're going to have to either use an image to fit your own logo in there, or if you have a fairly short name, you can change that up. And I'll just quickly show you where that's located and how to change that. So back in your deployment, in Skin 2, you'll find your template, or I say Skin 2, but whichever your mobile skin ended up being. So the logo is actually contained in template.ascx. So I'm just going to open this up with Notepad, and let's make it easier to read. There we go. And then right down here, this is where you can see the logo being rendered out. So I'll just change that right there and save it. I'm going to go back to FileZilla in my deployment package, additional files, Skin 2, the one I just updated. Same on the live site. And just push up that new template change. Okay, so that's where you modify your logo. And again, if you want to put an image in there, you can do that. I'm just using plain text here, but it's just basic HTML. So that's all there is to it. That's how you install mobile on version 8.0.12 of AspDotNet Storefront.